Good day, good people, and welcome to another Web Dev Hero tutorial. I'm here to teach you now the basics of CSS, and we're going to start easy with some selectors. So this video is going to be for you if you have absolutely no clue what CSS is, and if you want to create your very first web page. Now, as you saw here, I created two files. The first one is named tutorial HTML and the second one is tutorial.css. Go ahead and create both these files. The name is up to you, obviously, in one folder. This is going to be the first step. Now, if you don't have this Sublime Text Editor, go ahead and download it from the internet. And when you have done so, you can add some basic plugins that we are going to be needing here. It's on Tools, Install Package Control. This is the first thing you need to do. And here you go. It's successfully installed. Use the command palette and type install package. Get started. It's a little confusing because Sublime Editor doesn't tell you the way what it does. I'm going to show you this here. It's usually in the bottom line that you're going to be seeing that something is happening here. And also it tells you the type of your document, in this case HTML and in this case CSS. But back to the packages. Now, package control, here we go. Now what you want to add first is emit. So type in, first thing is you want to go on install package. Wait for a second, and then you have the packages that you can install. Type emit and hit enter. And here, down here, you see that something is happening, okay? And it says successfully installed. And what pops up is, well, this welcome message that tells you, thank you for installing emit. The thing that does some basic stuff, you can check this out here. What it basically does is it gives you snippets and it also gives you auto completion. And now you can go ahead and create your first web page. So first things first, thanks to emit, you can type exclamation mark and hit tab. So this gives you a basic thing that you need in order to create a web page. First, let's go through it. It states that the doc type is HTML. The language in this case is English. You don't need that, but it's usually helpful to put it there. You need always an HTML tag, but you don't have to specify the language, but do it, you're safe. Then you have a head tag. This is the opening tag. This is the closing tag. This head you have a title and you include other files, as you will see in a minute. And you have a body tag. And this is basically where your code goes and the code that creates stuff. First, change the title. My first web page. Okay. And the first thing you can do is you can either go ahead and type H1 and close it, title, and then H1 and automatically close it here. Or you can just go ahead, type H1 and hit tab, and then you have it too. This is the good thing about emit. The way, save the document, look it up where you put it, right click, open in Firefox, for example, and here you go. Let's put this here on the right side. Okay, so this is your first web page. Now there is stuff like auto reload for the browser, but we're not going to worry about this because we're not doing big things here. Now what I want to talk to you about are all the way how you would pick your CSS, because, well, this is a CSS tutorial. You want to know how can I include the CSS. There are three ways. We're going to go with the common way. You can either put an inline style. So for example, H1 style color blue, for example. Hit save, here, and now the title is blue. So this is called inline style. Next thing is you could take the you could go ahead and thing is you could make an internal style sheet for example, like of your document, which is here, could make a new line, and for example, and in this style, you make your regular CSS, like for example, H1, and this H1, the color red. That refresh, and now the title is red. The third option is you make an external CSS file. How do you use it? This is easy. You just link to it or you refer to it in your head again. Okay? So let's do this up here. Before the title, link, hit tab, and then it says link to a style sheet, and the href is the path to your style sheet, and it is in the same folder. So you just type name of it, in my case tutorial CSS. Now there's nothing here. Show you that it worked. We're gonna style the H1, give it a color, you guessed it. Okay, let's refresh, then we're fine. There are several selectors. So the first one, and the first one is just an element selector. Okay, so we have this H1 element, and we address it by typing H1 here. You always start with an opening bracket, followed by a closing bracket. Within these brackets, you can make tons of adjustments. We'll take the H2, the brackets, and give it a color of red. Hit save, and now our title 2 should appear red. Exactly. Let's create another H2, title 2.1, and this title, we give it an ID title green example. Okay, so the ID should just be assigned to one HTML tag, obviously, and this one has the ID green. Now, because we didn't tell anything, hit save, H2, hit save, refresh. It is red because an H2 has the ID title green, but this doesn't change anything for now because it's just an H2. If we want to change this, just this title, we can go ahead and address its ID. And this is how you would do it. You go ahead and put a hashtag, and then the name. So title green, spaces, again the color green. Hit save, and there you go. Now it's green. It has two properties now. First, it is addressed by the H2, but the ID is more specific than the tag. So obviously the ID will override the property tag selector. This is called specificity, and you can Google that. There's a lot of different selectors and which one has more specificity than the other. So we have the general tag selector, element selector. We have the ID selector. Next one is the class selector. So for example, let's go ahead and give this H2 the class of super. Now, what is going to happen if I just save that? Do you have any idea? Will it be red, green? Let's refresh. It will be red, of course, because it falls under the first selector, not under the second one, because it doesn't have an ID of title green. So it will be just red. Right? So class super will be addressed with a simple dot. So dot super, curly braces, and then the color of yellow, for example, is more specific than H2. So this title will be yellow. I want to show you one more selector, which is this one. So we have a div, okay? And in this div, we have an unordered list and then 5 list elements, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And want to select all elements, all unordered list elements, where the parent is a div element. This is how you would do it, okay? So you want to address a div element. And for example, you would do it like this. You would open this bracket and then color of blue, for example. Oops, sorry. Refresh this. And now you have these 5 list elements and they are blue because it's a div, and in this div you take the unordered list. Now if you have the same unordered list which is not in a div, for example down here, it will not be addressed. You see, it is black, which is default. So this selector is like a chain selector. This is the div, and the unordered list beneath it is the color of blue. Okay, that's it for today for the setup and for the basic CSS selectors. There are many more, but these are the ones that are very basic and very easy to understand. In the next tutorial, we are going to talk about more selectors. I hope this was helpful, and I wish you good night.